Have you ever felt the world around you is made of masks and lies? For you, the world isn't a maze of instructions, it's the wild. Welcome to Zeta territory, where silence meets aggressiveness. You act instinctively, fueled by an inner flame. Anything external looks hollow. They might call this reckless or dangerous, but you know it's necessary. Like a hungry lone tiger stalking in the dark, you attack when meets glances. You might recall Marcus Aurelius saying that the impediment to action advances action. You are living proof of that truth. Psychology finds people who trust their gut often solve problems others overlook. For Zetas, the problem itself is irrelevant. Only the hunt matters. Let's discover the next 10 traits of Zeta's coldness. This is the third part of the Rarer Sigma series. You build from nothing. Have you ever felt compelled to create something when everyone else was content consuming, while others scroll through endless feeds? Something deeper pulls at you, doesn't it? You don't wait for inspiration to strike. You don't need permission from the world or approval from committees. Zetas build instinctively. They're built for solitude. Like a tiger, instead of simple boundaries, they're carving out entire realities. Watch how others approach creation. They waste time over learning. It's called information overload. Wait for the perfect moment. Even Sigmas, they calculate every step. Zetas calculate the first 10 and last 5. See a problem, and your hands start moving before your mind finishes calculating. This isn't recklessness. It's a fundamental difference in how you process existence. You learn on the go. Where Sigmas strategize their independence, you simply act on it. The psychological phenomenon called constructive discontent drives this compulsion. Research by Csikszentmihalyi found that individuals with high creative drive often experience a persistent dissatisfaction with existing solutions. But for Zetas, this goes deeper. You don't just want better, you need to forge them with your own hands. Think about it. When was the last time you built something just because it needed to exist? Not for profit, not for recognition, but because the absence of it felt like a wound in reality. This is your nature speaking. You're not trying to fit into the world's architecture. You're redesigning it from the inside out. Seneca understood this drive when he wrote that we suffer more in imagination than reality. But Zetas don't escape. They sharpen their edge inside it, crafting solutions that didn't exist before their intervention. Most people consume. You instinctively architect. The difference isn't just what you do, it's how you exist. You cut through illusions. Do you ever feel like you're the only one seeing through the performance, while everyone else nods along to comfortable lies? Something in you demands the raw, unfiltered truth. You don't just question authority, you dissect reality itself. Zetas operate like surgeons of perception, cutting away the fat of social pretense to expose the bone underneath. This isn't cynicism. It's a compulsive need for authenticity that runs deeper than philosophy. Most people live in elaborate theaters, playing roles they've never consciously chosen. They smile at colleagues they despise, chase dreams that were implanted by marketing campaigns, and call it living. You see the strings. Even Sigmas couldn't cut off social strings entirely. But you see the puppeteer, and you refuse to dance. This surgical precision comes at a cost. Research by Dunning and Kruger revealed that people with higher competence often underestimate their abilities, while the incompetent overestimate theirs. But for Zetas, this creates a different problem. You see through illusions so clearly that you become dangerous to those who profit from them. Think about your last conversation with someone living in denial. You probably asked one simple question that unraveled their entire narrative. They called you negative, pessimistic, or madman. But you weren't being cruel. You were being precise. Like a surgeon removing a tumor, the cut hurts, but the disease was already there. Nietzsche understood this burden when he declared that truth is ugly. We possess art, lest we perish of the truth. But Zetas don't need art to cushion reality. You consume truth raw, even when it burns going down. While others build comfortable prisons of self-deception, you live in the sharp clarity of what actually is. It's lonely territory, but it's real territory. Have you ever felt that every extra detail is a distraction from your core strength? Here's something unique. You strip language down to 2 words: powerful and true. In speech, you don't waste time on pleasantries or padding. Every sentence lands like a stone skipping once. Deadly, precise. You carry only what you need. While others hoard gadgets and trinkets, you own a single knife sharper than 10 dull tools. This instinct isn't about deprivation. It's about clarity. In tribes, the lean warrior was the feared one. You sense that echo in your bones. This is where traits overlap with our prime male. The raw, primal, the old alpha god. Comment down for the link or just search the channel. Thanks. For example, even your tastes lean minimal. In food, you prefer bitter or even sweet over sharp, spicy, or sour flavors. Not for any particular reason, you just gravitate toward blunt tastes, like salt, sweet, or bitter. Some cultures link this to higher testosterone levels. In a way, that might make sense. Testosterone raises body heat, and those higher on that spectrum don't need an external kick. That doesn't mean you have to be a Zeta to have high testosterone. Neither all Zetas have high test. You can take this as a simplified metaphor for your life choices. Your habits mirror this. You don't binge watch. You just hover around the infos you need to survive the day. You reject information overload. You don't cultivate shallow friendships. You invest in one ally who matches your depth, and that guy is most possibly a Sigma. Excess feels like weight. Minimalism feels like wings. Society mistakes your austerity for coldness, but you're simply unburdened. Your life is a sculpted form. Each removed piece reveals more of you. For Zetas, less isn't just more. It's everything. Ever caught yourself watching a crowd move and felt the pull to simply let them pass? You don't join the fray. You become the spark nobody sees. While others shout for attention, you observe the fault lines. You map human behavior like a tactician studying terrain. Each gesture, each hesitation is data. Not fodder for small talk, but fodder for strategy. Sun Tzu taught that knowing your enemy is half the battle. You extend that to knowing everyone, including yourself. You're not passive, you're patient. When the moment arrives, you shift the balance without fanfare. They call this underhanded or sly, but you know action without excess leaves no trail. In studies on covert leadership, researchers found quiet influencers often achieve more lasting change than overt commanders. You embody that truth. Philosophers like Nietzsche spoke of the will to power as an inner force. You don't conquer with armies, you conquer with subtle shifts of perception. Your moves are brushstrokes on a hidden canvas. Small, precise, irreversible. Society fears this because you disrupt from within. They can't build walls against a ghost architect. You're not breaking rules. You're bending the very framework before it solidifies. Do you wait for permission to act, or do you let your awareness trigger the moment? You know the answer. For Zeta's influence is invisible, and that makes it unstoppable. You don't attend family functions. You don't avoid out of spite. You avoid because your time is sovereign. They call it disrespectful to skip birthdays, weddings, funerals. To elders, your absence is a stain on tradition. But you know that obligation without intention is hollow. A 2018 University of Chicago study found that forced social interactions raise cortisol as much as public speaking, turning comfort into conflict. You see those functions as theaters, where scripts are recycled. You refuse to recite lines written for someone else. Zeno urged living in alignment with nature. You extend that to kinship. If your nature whispers not today, you honor that. Your detachment unsettles society in greater scale, because when a family learns to rebel, it can be harmful for the society. When you cut even one thread, you expose the weave's fragility. They fear a world without enforced loyalty, a place where bonds must earn their keep. You don't shun love, you demand sincerity. You'd trade 100 polite toasts for one candid conversation. For Zeta's presence is earned, not owed. Ever wondered why you never chase someone else's ambition, only your own heartbeat? You don't need vision boards or annual plans. Your purpose rises from a pulse nobody taught you to feel. You move because motion is embedded in your blood. While others clutch mission statements like life rafts, you wake hungry for action. A 2019 University of Munster study discovered that individuals driven by internal volition enter flow states faster and stay longer. Your drive isn't shaped by praise or fear. It's a biological command. You don't set goals to impress or compete. You carve tasks from instinct, like a sharpened flint striking steel. Seneca argued that true freedom comes when desire aligns. You embody that truth. Every step you take is a response to an internal drumbeat, not a calendar reminder. Society labels this unpredictable, even unstable. Because you don't follow their timelines, they fear a force that can't be scheduled or bargained with. You aren't wandering, you're listening. Each move keeps you tethered to your own primal pulse, a rhythm that no system can contain. What if the only compass worth following is the one that beats inside your chest? Have you ever felt like everyone else's background noise while you stand at the edge of a silent sea? You don't join the conversation. You become the void that watches it unfold. Sigmas observe society. Zetas rebel against society. Sigmas build their kingdom. Zetas live in the void. You scan the room without stepping in it. People see you as cold, but you're simply attuned to depths they refuse to explore. A 2021 study on solitude found that those who embrace extended reflection activate their brain's default mode network more efficiently. You mine insight where others see emptiness. You aren't aloof, you're vigilant. While alphas command attention and sigmas slip into shadows, you dissolve into the backdrop, absorbing nuance and timing your moves with surgical precision. Seneca taught that a mind untroubled by noise is a fortress. Your detachment is your strongest wall. Society fears the observer because you can't be rallied or swayed. Your silence indicts their noise. You hold a mirror to their rituals without ever applauding or protesting. They mistake your indifference for weakness. What if true power isn't in the chaos you create, but in the calm you embody? Have you ever looked in a mirror and felt nothing but the surface reflecting back? You don't judge yourself by reflections. You see through. You move unmoved by your own image. Where others sculpt personas for applause, you walk unmasked, refusing any borrowed identity. A 2019 Yale study on self-consciousness found that individuals who detach from their appearance report lower anxiety and sharper focus. You trade vanity for clarity. You aren't vain or insecure, you're mirrorless. While the crowd polishes facades, you shattered the glass. Your sense of self lives in your actions, not in the way light bounces off your face. Marcus Aurelius urged us to be like the cliff against which the waves continually break. It stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. You are that cliff, unyielding to reflections. Society fears someone who ignores their own image. Without concern for optics, you can't be blackmailed, distracted, or bullied with insults. You see approval and rejection as equal debris swept away by your gaze. You don't need a gallery of admirers. Your validation flows inward. You test your worth against nothing but your own standards. For Zeta's true sight is sight without mirrors. What if the only reflection worth seeking is the one in your mind's eye? Have you ever felt victory taste like ash when someone else hands you a medal? You don't chase trophies. They feel like shackles. You measure success in silent mastery, not in shiny trinkets. You train in darkness, honing skills nobody will applaud. While others build resumes laden with titles and awards, you burn those pages. A 2017 Stanford study on extrinsic rewards found that offering prizes can actually reduce people's intrinsic drive. You instinctively reject incentives that dilute purpose. You're not dismissive, you're discerning. Seneca wrote that a wise man values his own judgment above public opinion. You live that lesson. Each milestone is marked by personal insight, not by applause meters. Society fears someone who won't be controlled by praise. Without the lure of recognition, you can't be bought, bribed, or swayed. You remain anchored to your own standards, a living testament to self-sufficiency. You don't need a stage. Your arena is within. Each triumph echoes quietly in your bones, unclaimed and unrecorded, yet undeniably real. For Zetas, the only trophy that matters is the one you carve into your character. What if the greatest achievement is the one you never announce? Ever felt the thrill of a hidden grin, knowing nobody sees the knife you wield in shadow? You don't lead with glory, you whisper chaos. Zetas flirt with devilry, dancing on the edge of Machiavellian craft. They pull levers in silence, delighting in the soft crack of control. A 2019 University of Cambridge study on psychopathic traits found that fearless dominance and strategic charm often co-occur, a cocktail you drink instinctively. They aren't monsters, they're architects of rupture. Narcissism sharpens their reflection, but it's a mirror only they can look into. They don't crave your applause, only your raw reaction. Like Loki, they twist fate with a smirk, bending rules until they snap. Stoicism gave them armor, emotionless facades that shield inner storms. They invade hearts, not with fury, but with calculated calm, turning warmth to ash. Seneca warned that to wish to be well involves knowing the disease. Zetas know every fragility in your psyche. They choose their attachments like poison, sparingly, with precision. Every smile measured, every touch an experiment. They don't cheat fate. They rewrite it, carving new paths through others' expectations. Society fears the hand that can't be seen, the mind that can't be sold, the heart that can't be owned. Zetas are that fear made flesh. What if true power isn't in being loved or feared, but in being utterly unreadable? Thanks for watching. Now comment down. Do you want part 4? Till then, watch the other video of mine, appearing right on your screen. Thanks.